The show is about to begin.
What's up, everyone? Happy Hump Day. Welcome to the Wednesday Hump Day edition of Truth Live Shenanigans. It's your girl, Liz E, tonight, and I will be filling in for our boy, Neo Nix, who is working with us tonight behind the scenes as he gets some rest after having his second COVID vaccination shot this week. So hopefully, Neo, you are feeling fine, maybe sipping some wine, probably not, but sip some, need some. Sip some if you need some, brother. So we've got a lot of shenanigans to sift through this evening. We're going to start off in hot topics with our boy Robbie Rock. He's going to take us up to Minnesota and give us the latest information and perspective after the police shooting of Daunte Wright by Minnesota police officer Kim Potter. Then we're going to shift over to Gianni Storm, who is going to give us the latest on one of America's most vapid and exhausting couples, Kim and Kanye. Then
Very
I'm
true.
and then I am going to get everyone's perspective on rapper Kid Cudi, who got some positive and some negative reactions this week for his SNL performance last Saturday, in which he wore a dress. So a lot of points to ponder this evening. So sit back and get ready for all of the shenanigans. But before we get into our show tonight, I want to introduce our host. In addition to myself, I have a lovely panel this evening, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Tonight, I'm going to start with the ladies. It's ladies' night, y'all. It's ladies' night.
Ooh.
So first up, our young lady, our miss, our student from Clark, Atlanta, our model, our actress, Miss Gianni Storm. Gianni, are you still in Jupiter?
Yes. Hey guys, it's Gianni from Jupiter. So I've been doing good. I've been doing really good. I've just been chilling. I feel like I've been enjoying the weather. Things have been going really busy for me as far as school and work. I've been trying to figure it out. And good news is my family's actually visiting me this weekend. So my aunt and my cousin.
Oh,
Very nice.
Yeah.
amazing.
All right.
Very
That's
excited.
awesome.
I'll take pics and
So
send it to you guys.
in addition to being one of our co-hosts here, Gianni is also the co-host of TLS Unscripted on Instagram. So Gianni, tell the folks where they can see you and Miss Olivia E on Instagram.
You can see me and the beautiful Olivia E on Instagram Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard.
All right, so make sure you tune in this Friday to see our Weekend Warriors. Next up, sitting in for me, as I sit in for Neo, is our Twitter guru, also from Sudbury, Ontario, Miss Jose. How you doing, Jose?
I am doing very well. Good evening, everyone. I am so looking forward to this show because I'm not going to lie, the back and forth between all of us the past few days, let's say the past 48 hours has been intense. So I'm looking forward to our discussion. So, and I am wearing pink today because it is International Day of Pink. It's a day of action for communities across the world to remain united in celebrating equity.
All right. Well, great to have you back, Jose.
Thank you very much for having me.
We have our rock star and Jose's partner in crime from the rock band Fallen Machine, also out of Sudbury, Ontario. We have Mr. Rob E. Rock.
Love the intro. That's awesome.
I know.
So I do want to address one online question right away. So to share, I am wearing a pink shirt also because of the International Pink Shirt Day, and it's just to raise awareness. And it's also an anti-bullying thing, and it's a show of support for my boy Kid Cudi because it is a feminine cut. But who cares? It's a garment.
Yeah. How does it feel?
Nice.
What
I'm not used to showing this much armpit. I think it's a cotton polyester blend.
Okay.
Polyester.
It's very light,
Oh my
very
God.
breezy. You can tuck it in, wear it out. Very versatile.
You can see my naughty bits through it.
Jose is funny.
Easy
I
breezy
love it.
Robbie Rock. Well, me on this side here in Washington, D.C., again, I had a very hectic week. We are winding down towards the end of the school year, end of the semester at Howard University. So as usual, I have like 1,000 papers to grade, but I also have some other projects that are going on. So I've been like, my foot has been on the pedal. Gotten very little sleep. So hopefully you guys will, make me laugh this evening. Make me laugh this evening.
We
So
will.
I won't be
We'll certainly try.
stressed about everything else. So now that you've gotten to know our panel of hosts tonight a little bit, let's get into our quick fire question. All right, quick fire coming at you. So this week, conservative pastor Rick Wiles took aim at our very own Dr. Anthony Fauci in a recent episode of his True News program, saying that the prominent public health official should be waterboarded because he believes that Fauci worked directly with China to create the coronavirus pandemic. Wiles called Fauci a liar, saying, and I quote, "You know what you did, Fauci. You worked with the Chinese Communist Party for years, and you used our own taxpayer money to work on it, to work on the coronavirus bats. And you did it behind our backs, deceiving the American people, and you participated in the creation of this virus. And for that, you should be waterboarded." So, question to the panel, to our viewing audience. Again, this guy is a pastor. So the question is, did God's message change for the people during the coronavirus? What you got to say, Robbie? What you got to say, Robbie?
Well, the only waterboarding that I'm aware of in the Bible is the Great Flood.
Good one. I would say
Gianni?
apparently to the conservative extremists, yes, God's word changes.
Okay. And Miss Jose?
Men never do evil so completely and cheerfully as when they do it from religious convictions. Blaise Pascal. I thought that was
Drop the
very appropriate.
Very appropriate.
Nice.
My question would be is, and this is a slogan that a lot of Americans have here. What would Jesus do, Pastor Wiles? What would Jesus do? Would Jesus be out there? Jesus who was nailed to the cross? Would he be out there warning people? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But overall, guys, what do you think about this incessant harassment or belittling of Dr. Fauci?
I think I know where Rick Wiles is coming from, because with the COVID restrictions, I've seen this happening internationally. Religious leaders are pissed because their flocks are being kept away from their houses of worship, and that affects the bottom line. That really affects the bottom line. You want to piss somebody off, mess with their paycheck. So it's an absolute attack on Fauci to discredit him, to remove him from a very lucrative revenue stream. I'm sure that Mr. Wiles is doing just fine, but you're right, Liz. I mean, WWJD, turn the other cheek. You'd love them. Maybe turn the waterboarding water into wine, have a party. I think he'd be more down with that.
I feel like because Dr. Fauci, if I'm pronouncing it right, is the face, not the face of the pandemic, but he's kind of been leading it in the US anyway. So I think because he is the target, I think a lot of people who don't believe in the coronavirus being a real thing kind of associate that to him. And I don't believe him and Trump had the best relationship. So those type of people would also hate on him hard. It makes sense.
Trump had no relationship with anyone that did not agree with him. The minute someone had their own ideas, Trump just shit canned that. But like Mike Winter has commented, saying Fauci should sue him for defamation, hit him in the pocket. And you know what? That's a really good point. It's like, come on, because this guy has his own show. Rick Wiles has his own show. You should see this website, okay, that I saw. I mean, this is a very prominent person. So, yeah, I mean, defamation, absolutely. I have nothing but respect for Fauci and for what he's done. And shame, 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 shame. That's not our Jeebus.
I never, and again, as someone who grew up in the church, even though, I am a non-believer, I still try to be very respectful to people. I'm definitely not advocating torture. And this is coming from an atheist, okay? I'm definitely not advocating torture. I'm definitely not advocating that we waterboard someone. I'm definitely not running around with a bunch of conspiracy theories simply because someone else disagrees with me, or simply because someone else believes in science. Like, again, as all of you have mentioned, Dr. Fauci has done his best to keep us above board as it relates to the coronavirus, as it relates to COVID-19, giving out information. And he's done a good job, I think, of stepping back when that information has been kind of iffy. And he'll say, okay, I'll come back later. And so for people to have such a visceral reaction to a doctor who's out here trying to save lives, I just have to keep asking, like, where is the Christianity in that?
And where was the outrage when Fauci was involved in helping curb the HIV epidemic in the 80s? Where was the outrage when he was working against SARS? Okay, well, there was none because he was doing his job effectively, just like he was doing or trying to do his job effectively this time around. But the leader of the free world at the time was just sticking the stick in his spokes.
I'm going to go out on a limb, though, Rob, and say that probably, when he was working, doing, working for AIDS research, working to try to figure out what was going on with AIDS and HIV, that if we had social media back then, there would have been a backlash because these are people, the conservative right? These are people who wanted to burn gay people, wanted to burn homosexuals, wanted to burn people who were HIV positive at the stake. They thought that they were evil. They thought that they were devils. They thought that they were the sign. That AIDS was kind of like a scarlet letter, that it was the sign of Satan. And so for him to advocate in their favor and try to help these people and try to find a cure, I think it would have been the same reaction back then if we had social media and this 24-hour news cycle where they had a platform, if you will. But it just makes you wonder, like, again, like we said, like Rob posed with we posed with the quickfire question, did God's intent, did God's message change? And what would Jesus say about all of this hate and vitriol at a doctor who is seemingly trying to help people? Think go, like old Arsenio Hall, things that make you go,
Yes.
All right, so we're going to move out